Researcher Franco claims that the average score of on the fundamentals of statistics Math 121 face-to-face performed lower than that of the Math 121 online. To test his claim, he surveyed a sample of 35 of both the Math 121 face-to-face and Math 121 online students, used a significance level alpha of 0.05 and JASP to help the researcher Franco to complete the test forming via p-value approach. Here's the data which is presented in the following tables. So we're going to do a t-test, which is very similar to a z-test. The only difference is that the t-test now is for samples less than 30. Okay, so the first step is the same. You have to state a pair of hypotheses, which must be written in symbolic form. So both for the t-test and the z-test, the pair of hypotheses have to be written in symbolic form. Now we're comparing two means, two different groups, face-to-face and online. Since we have done a similar tests like this, but in Excel, we can actually copy the null and the alternative, which are exactly the same. Here it is. We're going to paste them, the null and the alternative. Right here. Okay, so that's step number 1 accomplished. Input the data in Excel or SPSS or JASP. So here's the information. It's already in Excel. Let's get it. The two samples, face-to-face and score. Now, this is how Excel prefers the data to be. So for your labels, you have F2F, face-to-face and online, and you have the data beneath both of them. But with JASP would like the data to be like this. Groups, face-to-face and online, and then one column with the scores, the variable. So like you have the independent variable, meaning the groups, and then the score now would be like the dependent variable. Okay, the scores of the groups. Okay, so you have 32, 46, 45 face-to-face, and here they are, and 35 online, here they are. So know the difference between how Excel prefers the data to be and how JASP and even SPSS prefers the data to be. And other probably Minitab, other statistical software prefer the data to be presented that way. Okay, so please know the difference. So let's copy this and paste this now in a new Excel spreadsheet. Okay, and another thing now, you need to save your file as comma separated values, which of course we have done already, but I'm just going to show you that you need to save your file as comma separated values, CSV, so that JASP can recognize the Excel spreadsheet. Okay, it already exists, so yes, let's just do it again for demonstration. And this will always pop up, so you click OK. And then you go to JASP now to import synchronization happening, because what happens now, since I've already imported it, so JASP is synchronizing. Here it is, they are communicating. Okay, because I've already on their show main menu, open, go to computer, and then go to browse. Okay, and here it is, and you click on it and you open, and just import the data. Okay, which of course it did already. Okay, now we go to t-test, independent samples, 2 samples. Okay, now the dependent variables is score and the grouping variable. Okay, so in that group you have the 2 groups. So score is split into 2 groups here in that grouping variable, face-to-face and online. And T students, group 1. Oh, so here now the JASP is asking for the alternative hypothesis. Very important. Also, in the previous videos, I did not really point this out. So JASP is asking for the alternative hypothesis. That's why it's good to, repeat, because I've never really looked at the research data, just from hands-on experience. And this is very important. We have to indicate what is the alternative hypothesis there. Okay, to just want to know what is your alternative hypothesis. So group 1 is, we're saying that group 1 is less than group 2. We are saying the face-to-face is less than the online, because remember, we put the first group as face-to-face and the second group as online. So group 1 is less than group 2. So this is our alternative hypothesis. Okay. And automatically, JASP will give you your output with your p-value. The p-value is less than 0.01, so we must reject the null. Okay, because based on the steps, after you input, process the data, which we just did, identify the p-value, which is less than 0.01, compare this p-value to your significance level called alpha. Alpha is a probability value that you establish from the beginning of the test. You can either use 0.01, 0.025, 0.05, 0.1, etc. It is very common to choose 0.05. Let's use 0.05. Actually, JASP, I think, asks you for what your significance level is, 0.05. Okay, it's somewhere around there. Here it is, 0.05. So it's inbuilt in JASP already. Is it possible to change it? Okay. So that's why it's very common to use 0.05. Even the programs coming by default as your significance level. So when you compare, if the p-value is less than the significance level, you have to reject HO. If the p-value is greater than the significance level, you do not reject HO. Now, if you reject HO, then you are left with the alternative statement as the conclusion. If you do not reject HO, then HO itself is the alternative statement. So in our scenario, since our p-value is less than the significance level, we have to reject HO. And if we reject HO, then you are left with the alternative statement as our conclusion. And here it is in our output. So the p-value of less than 0.01 is less than 0.05, so suggesting a violation of the equal variance assumption. All right, so therefore, for all tests, the alternative hypothesis specifies that the group F2F is less than the group online. So that is the conclusion. So JASP is also helping us conclude. Okay, and we can just go there, toggle down and copy the output, and you can paste it in an Excel, in a text box in our worksheet. So that we can, be able to maneuver it, shift it where we would like, as please. And just for proof that the mean for the face-to-face is less than the online, we can go back to JASP and we can ask JASP to give us the mean of each group. So we can go to descriptives, go to statistics. Okay, we can uncheck valid, missing. We can leave the sample size. We can keep mean, we want the mean, we do have to take standard deviation, maximum, minimum, we don't really want that. These are all the statistics that JASP offers: interquartile range, variance, standard deviation, etc., standard error, mean, median, mode. Okay, and here I have others. Let us just choose the mean, and we go to indicate to JASP what the variables we would like, which is score, and the split in the two groups, if face-to-face and online. So here it is. JASP is giving us the mean of the face-to-face is 75, and the mean of the online is 89.97. So actually the mean of the face-to-face appears to be less than the mean of the online, which coincides with our alternative statement, which happens to be the conclusion. Okay, so since we have done this already in Excel, arriving at the same decision and the same conclusion in Excel, the only difference is the probability, the p-value, whereas Excel gives you the value itself, JASP will tell you it is less than 0.01. Okay, because really and truly the exact value is not really of much importance. We just want to compare it to 0.05. Okay, so JASP doesn't really give you the exact value of the p probability value. It just tells you that it is less than 0.01. Very small. Okay, so we just have to indicate this there in our decision and conclusion. So since the p-value of less than 0.001 is less than the significant level alpha of 0.05, we reject the null hypothesis. The average score of the fundamentals of statistics math 1 face-to-face perform lower than the online based on the data. It's always good to indicate that it's based on the data that we arrive at this conclusion. So here we have it, 2 samples t-test using JASP.